You survived things you never talk about. I see what you hide. Stay with me. My child, listen to me now. Do not turn away from this moment. I am speaking to the places you keep silent. I know what you survived. I know what you never explain. I know the strength you learned in private. Pause with me. Breathe slowly. You are safe here. There are things you carry that never became stories. Moments you endured without witnesses. Pain you learned to contain because there was no space to release it. You did not talk about it. You did not ask for help. You kept going. And you survived. If you are listening right now, it is because your heart remembers even when your words stay quiet. You may softly say, I am here. I am here with you. You learned how to function while hurting. How to smile while managing fear. How to stay composed while something inside you was breaking and rebuilding at the same time. No one applauded that strength. No one marked that moment as brave. But I saw it. My child, survival leaves marks even when wounds are invisible. It teaches you to be alert. To be careful. To carry weight without asking permission to rest. You became strong in silence. But silence can become heavy. I see how you rarely talk about those seasons now. Not because they did not matter. But because you learned it was easier to move forward than to explain. You told yourself it was over. You told yourself you were fine. You told yourself others had it worse. But your heart kept the memory. If this feels true, you may quietly say, I understand. Let it rise naturally. You survived disappointment that changed how you trust. You survived fear that taught you vigilance. You survived loss that reshaped your expectations. And you did it without falling apart publicly. I know you sometimes wonder why you feel tired without reason. Why you feel guarded even when things are calm. Why joy feels cautious instead of free. It is because survival required you to adapt. And those adaptations stayed with you. I am not disappointed in that. I honor it. But my child, survival is not where your story ends. It is where healing begins. You do not have to keep carrying everything you learned in those hard places. You do not have to stay alert forever. You do not have to prove strength by remaining silent. I am with you now, not asking you to relive anything. But inviting you to rest. If you are listening closely, you may softly say, my heart is open. Let it be a gentle choice. You survived things you never talk about. And that means there is courage in you that runs deeper than words. But it also means there are places in you that deserve tenderness now. I see how you learned to keep moving. How you avoided slowing down because stillness felt unsafe. How you stayed useful so you would not feel vulnerable. I am not here to take your strength away. I am here to soften what no longer needs armor. You do not need to justify your pain to me. You do not need to explain your silence. I already know. And I am still here. Stay with me. There is more I want to tell you about what survival did to your heart. And how I am gently helping you lay some of that weight down. Do not go yet. We will take this slowly. Together. My child, let me speak to what survival taught you to hide. The habits you formed without realizing it. The ways you learned to protect yourself quietly. Come closer. This is not accusation. This is compassion. You learned how to read rooms quickly. How to sense danger before it spoke. How to stay one step ahead of disappointment. That was wisdom for that season. And it kept you alive inside. But that same vigilance has followed you into safer places. You still brace for loss. You still expect things to fall apart. You still prepare yourself for impact even when nothing is wrong. That is not because you lack faith. It is because your nervous heart remembers what your mouth never said. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, I am listening. I am speaking gently to you. Survival taught you to minimize your needs. To say, "I'm okay," before checking if it was true. To keep your pain tidy so it would not inconvenience anyone. You became dependable. Reliable. Strong. But strength that is never allowed to rest becomes heavy. I see how you struggle to receive care now. How kindness makes you uncomfortable. How you feel the urge to earn rest instead of accepting it. That did not come from pride. It came from necessity. You learned that needing less felt safer than asking for more. If this truth feels familiar, you may quietly say, "I understand." Let it be recognition, not judgment. My child, you are allowed to need now. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to stop scanning for what might go wrong. You do not live in that season anymore. I know your body still remembers it. Your reflexes still carry it. Your thoughts still return there when you are tired. But I am with you here. In this moment. In this safer place. I am not rushing you to change. I am reassuring you that you no longer have to live braced. You survived by staying alert. Now I am teaching you how to live at rest. That shift feels unfamiliar. Even frightening at times. Because rest requires trust. And trust feels risky to a heart that learned to survive quietly. But I am patient with you. If you are here with me now, you may softly say, "My trust is growing." Even if it feels small. You do not need to drop all your armor at once. You do not need to explain your past. You do not need to revisit what hurt you. Just let me stand guard for you now. I see how survival shaped your boundaries. Your caution. Your careful hope. And I am not tearing those down. I am teaching you when you no longer need them. You are safe enough now to feel without preparing for collapse. Safe enough to hope without rehearsing disappointment. Safe enough to rest without guilt. That safety begins here. With me. Stay with me. There is still more I want to speak to the quiet strength you carry. And how I am transforming it into peace instead of pressure. Remain here. We will continue gently. My child, let me speak now to the exhaustion that survival left behind. Not the tiredness you can sleep away. But the weariness that settled into your spirit. You survived by staying strong longer than you should have had to. You stayed alert when others rested. You carried responsibility when no one noticed the cost. And when the danger passed, your body stood down. But your heart did not know how. Come closer. This is not something to be ashamed of. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, "I am here. I am here with you." Survival required constant readiness. And readiness consumes energy quietly. It drains joy slowly. It leaves behind a fatigue that feels confusing once life becomes calmer. You wonder why you feel tired now. When things are finally stable. Why motivation comes and goes. Why your spirit feels heavy without clear cause. My child, your heart has not been lazy. It has been overworked. You were strong when it mattered most. Now your soul is asking for recovery. I see how you push yourself to be grateful. How you tell yourself you should feel better by now. How you feel guilty for being tired after everything is over. But survival does not end when circumstances change. It ends when the heart feels safe enough to rest. That safety is what I am giving you now. If this truth settles into you, you may quietly say, "I understand." Let it be gentle. You have been living on reserve strength. Drawing from wells that were never refilled. Smiling through depletion because stopping felt dangerous once. But you are not in that place anymore. I am teaching your heart how to stand down. How to release vigilance. How to rest without fear. That transition feels strange. Sometimes it feels like emptiness. Sometimes it feels like sadness without a story. That is not regression. That is decompression. Your nervous heart is finally learning that it survived. I know you fear that resting now means losing momentum. That softness will make you weak. That slowing down will undo your progress. But hear me clearly, my child. Rest is not undoing you. It is restoring you. You are not losing strength. You are changing how it is held. If you are listening closely, you may softly say, I choose rest. Even if it feels unfamiliar. You do not need to be productive to be worthy now. You do not need to stay alert to be safe. You do not need to hold everything together. I am holding you. You survived things you never talk about. And now, you are learning how to live without constantly bracing for impact. That learning takes time. It takes patience. It takes compassion toward yourself. I am not disappointed in your pace. I am protecting it. Let the tiredness be a signal, not a sentence. A sign that your heart is ready to receive care. A sign that survival can finally give way to healing. Stay with me. There is still another layer of this survival I want to gently touch. And when you see it clearly, you will begin to feel lighter without forcing yourself to be. Remain here. We will continue together. My child, let me speak now to the grief you never named. Not the kind that comes with ceremonies or clear endings. But the quiet grief that lived alongside survival. You did not have time to mourn. You had to keep going. You had to stay functional. You had to survive first and feel later. So you postponed grief. And postponed grief does not disappear. It waits. Come closer. This is a gentle place. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, I am listening. I am here with you. You lost more than you realized. Not always people. Sometimes safety. Sometimes innocence. Sometimes the version of yourself that trusted easily. You adapted instead of grieving. You adjusted instead of stopping. You became capable instead of vulnerable. And that kept you moving forward. But your heart remembers what it gave up to survive. You wonder why certain moments feel heavy now. Why memories surface without warning. Why a song, a place, a tone of voice can suddenly make you quiet. That is not weakness. That is grief asking to be acknowledged. If this feels true, you may quietly say, I understand. Let it be a moment of recognition. My child, you are allowed to grieve what you lost even if you survived. You are allowed to mourn what changed you even if you are stronger now. Strength does not cancel sorrow. They often coexist. I am not asking you to reopen wounds. I am asking you to stop pretending there were none. You survived things you never talk about. Because talking about them felt too dangerous then. But you are not in that danger now. You are with me. I know you learned to downplay what happened. To tell yourself it was not that bad. To compare your pain with others so you would not feel entitled to grief. But pain does not need permission to be real. I saw every moment you swallowed emotion to stay composed. Every time you told yourself, I'll deal with this later. Later has arrived gently, not to overwhelm you, but to heal you. If you are here with me now, you may softly say, I bring this to you. Let it be quiet and honest. Grief does not mean you are going backward. It means your heart feels safe enough to feel. That is progress. I am holding space for the tears you never shed. For the anger you never expressed. For the confusion you never processed. You do not need to relive everything. You only need to let your heart be seen. I am not rushing this. I am patient with you. As you allow grief to breathe, you will notice it no longer presses so hard. It begins to soften. To release. Not because you forced it away. But because you finally let it exist in my presence. Stay with me. There is still another truth about survival I want you to hear. And it will help you understand why you are feeling ready to live more freely now. Remain here. We will continue together. My child, let me speak now to the way survival shaped how you love. How you learned to keep parts of yourself hidden. How closeness began to feel risky instead of safe. I know why. You learned that being open could cost you. That trusting fully might leave you exposed. So you became careful with your heart. Come closer. This is not a rebuke. This is understanding. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, I am here. I am here with you. You learned how to love without leaning too deeply. How to care without expecting too much. How to be present while keeping an exit ready. That protected you then. But now, it has begun to feel lonely. You wonder why connection sometimes feels tiring. Why intimacy makes you restless. Why being truly seen feels uncomfortable even when it is gentle. My child, that is not because you are cold. It is because your heart learned caution before it learned safety. If this truth touches you, you may quietly say, I understand. Let it be recognition. You survived by being self-contained. By not needing too much. By relying on yourself when others were unreliable. That strength kept you standing. But it also taught your heart to stay guarded. I am not asking you to drop those guards overnight. I am inviting you to notice when they are no longer needed. You are not in the same danger now. You are not surrounded by the same threats. You are not alone the way you once were. I am with you. I know you sometimes feel torn between wanting closeness and wanting to retreat. Between craving understanding and fearing disappointment. That tension comes from a heart that learned to survive before it learned to rest. I am teaching you how to love without bracing for loss. How to be open without feeling foolish. How to receive care without scanning for conditions. If you are listening closely, you may softly say, my heart is learning. Let that be gentle. You do not need to force vulnerability. You do not need to explain your past to be understood. You do not need to prove that you are safe to love. I am restoring trust in layers. At a pace your heart can handle. You will begin to notice moments when you do not pull away as quickly. When you stay present a little longer. When you allow warmth without immediately preparing for distance. Those are signs of healing. My child, you survived things you never talk about. And that taught you independence. But independence does not have to mean isolation. I am showing you that it is safe to be held now. Safe to be known. Safe to rest in connection. Not everywhere. Not with everyone. But with me first. As you learn safety here, your heart will slowly recognize it elsewhere. You are not broken in how you love. You are cautious because you once had to be. I am not removing your wisdom. I am adding peace to it. Stay with me. There is still one more layer of this journey I want to speak over you. And when you hear it, you will begin to see your survival not as a burden, but as a doorway you have already walked through. Remain here. We will continue together. My child, let me speak now to the strength you never recognized as courage. The quiet endurance. The steady resolve that carried you when you had no map and no applause. You survived without certainty. Without reassurance. Without the safety of knowing how things would turn out. That kind of survival changes a person. Come closer. Let your breath slow. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, I am listening. I am speaking to you with tenderness. You learned how to make decisions alone. How to trust your instincts when guidance was scarce. How to keep going even when your heart wanted to stop and rest. That strength is real. And it matters. But strength formed in crisis can become a habit. You keep carrying it even when the crisis has passed. You keep proving resilience even when rest is finally possible. I see how hard it is for you to believe that you no longer have to earn safety. That peace does not require constant vigilance. That calm can be trusted. If this resonates, you may quietly say, I understand. Let it be gentle. My child, you do not need to keep surviving. You are allowed to start living. Living will feel unfamiliar at first. Because living asks you to slow down. To feel joy without scanning for danger. To plan without bracing for disappointment. That can feel vulnerable to a heart shaped by endurance. I am not asking you to forget what you learned. I am helping you choose when to use it. Your courage does not disappear when you rest. It becomes wisdom. You are learning how to let strength serve peace instead of pressure. How to let resilience support joy instead of only survival. How to let your past inform you without controlling you. That is healing. If you are here with me now, you may softly say, my strength can rest. Let that truth settle. I know you sometimes fear that if you relax, you will become careless. That if you stop holding everything together, things will fall apart. But hear me clearly, my child. You are not the only one holding your life. You never were. I have been with you through every unseen battle. Through every silent decision. Through every night you made it through without explanation. And I am with you now. You survived things you never talk about. And that proves there is resilience in you that cannot be erased. But now, I am teaching you how to pair that resilience with trust. Trust that you are safe enough to breathe. Trust that joy does not need to be guarded constantly. Trust that peace is not a trap. You are stepping into a new season of your inner life. One where courage becomes calm. Where strength becomes softness. Where survival gives way to presence. This transition will not happen all at once. It will come in small moments. In pauses you allow. In breaths you no longer rush. Stay with me. There is one final truth I want to place gently into your heart. And when you hear it, your survival will no longer feel like something you must carry alone. Remain here. We will finish together. My child, let me speak now to how I see your survival. Not as something that defines you forever. But as something that brought you here. You are not meant to live as someone who only endured. You are meant to live as someone who is becoming whole. Come closer. Let this settle gently. If you are listening right now, you may softly say, I am here. I am here with you. What you survived did not make you hard. It made you discerning. It did not make you distant. It made you thoughtful. You learned to weigh words. To notice shifts in tone. To sense when something was not right before it was spoken. That awareness protected you. But now, it does not need to lead every moment. I am teaching you how to let awareness coexist with peace. How to notice without bracing. How to stay present without preparing for loss. That balance is new. And new things feel unfamiliar before they feel safe. If this truth resonates, you may quietly say, I understand. Let it be calm. You survived things you never talk about. And that means there are parts of you that learn to stay quiet to stay safe. But silence does not have to be your language anymore. You are allowed to be seen now. Not all at once. Not everywhere. But gently. At your pace. I am not rushing your healing. I am not measuring your progress. I am not comparing your journey to anyone else's. I am walking with you. You may notice yourself wanting to speak more honestly. Wanting to rest without explaining. Wanting to choose what feels life-giving instead of merely tolerable. Those desires are not selfish. They are signs that survival is loosening its grip. You are learning how to live without armor. Not unprotected. But unburdened. If you are listening closely, you may softly say, my life can be gentle. Let that truth belong to you. I know part of you fears that if you let go of survival mode, you will lose the strength that carried you through. But hear me clearly. What carried you through will remain. It will simply no longer be required to work so hard. Your resilience will become wisdom. Your caution will become discernment. Your endurance will become patience. Nothing is wasted. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to stop living inside it. You are here now. With me. In a place where breath can slow. And the future does not have to be feared. Stay with me just a little longer. There is one final word I want to speak over you. And when you hear it, you will feel peace settle where survival once stood guard. Remain here. We will finish together. My child, come rest with me now. This is where I want your heart to settle. You survived things you never talk about. And you do not need to explain them for them to matter. You do not need to revisit them for me to understand. I have always known. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders drop. You are not on guard here. If you are listening in this moment, you may softly say, Amen. Let it be a release. Survival shaped you, but it does not own you. It carried you through, but it does not get to decide how you live now. You are no longer defined by what you endured. You are defined by the life still unfolding in you. I see how far you have come. Not in milestones others can measure. But in the way you kept going when quitting felt easier. In the way you stayed kind when bitterness would have made sense. In the way you trusted me quietly, even when you did not talk about the pain. That faith mattered. You do not have to keep proving your strength. You do not have to keep justifying your tiredness. You do not have to keep carrying memories like armor. You can lay them down here. What you survived will not rise up to harm you again. It will become part of your wisdom, not your weight. It will remind you of resilience, not fear. You are safe enough now to live gently. To love without bracing. To rest without guilt. To hope without rehearsing loss. I am not taking your courage away. I am giving it a place to rest. If you are here with me now, you may quietly say, I choose peace. Let that choice be yours. There will still be days when old reflexes return. Moments when you feel alert without knowing why. That does not mean you are going backward. It simply means healing is layered. And every time that happens, you can come back to this place. To this calm. To this knowing that you are not alone with what you carry. I am with you in the present, not just the past. I am with you in the quiet moments, not just the crises. I am with you as you learn how to live without constant defense. Rest now, my child. You have carried enough. You have survived enough. Let peace take its place. Let gentleness lead. Let your heart finally exhale. And when you are ready, listen again. I will always meet you here.